I'm ready, yes.
All right, let's go ahead and call this, let's see, this is a special Community Redevelopment Agency meeting, Tuesday, January 9th, 2024 at 12:45, or pretty close there too, here in the great city of Pompano Beach. Let's go ahead and call this meeting to order and have a roll call.
Yes. Commissioner Fournier,
Here.
Commissioner Moss,
Here.
Commissioner Perkins,
Here.
Commissioner Seekerson-Eaton, Vice Chair McGee,
Here.
Chair Harton.
Here, and if I could ask everyone to please silence their cell phones or put them on vibrate during the meeting, that would be great so we don't get disrupted during our meeting. Thank you very much. If we can all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. On our agenda today, are there any changes, Mr. Harrison?
No, sir.
Very good. Can I get a motion approving the agenda as printed?
So moved. Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. That's great. All right, that takes us up to our regular agenda. Agenda item number 1, which is 24-104, is a resolution.
A resolution of the Pompano Beach Community Redevelopment Agency, CRA, approving and authorizing the proper officials to execute a contract for sale and purchase between the CRA and Bayside Investors, Inc. for the property at 122 through 124 South Federal Highway, Pompano Beach, Florida, 33062, in the amount of $1,550,000, providing an effective date and for other purposes.
So moved. Seconded.
Moved and second for discussion. Good afternoon, Ms. Lavoisier.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, CRA Board members, Cassandra Lemasurier, Real Property Manager. The only change from this item since your December meeting was the inclusion of the agenda that the board had, or the appraisal that the board had requested in the agenda backup. There have been no other changes to the item, and I'm available for your questions.
Very good. Thank you for that. This is a public hearing. Is there any input from the public on this item? Seeing none, public input closed. Commission discussion, concerns, questions. Commissioner Fournier?
Thank you. So this appraisal was really informative. I actually thought this one was pretty well done. The comps were very appropriate, but it resulted in a lot of questions, and I took a lot of notes on this one. So like my concern the last time was you can look at valuing things from an income perspective or a sales perspective. They did both in this appraisal. The income perspective showed what I expected, that this sales price is extremely high. And then when you actually strip out the apartment rental income that we would not be able to realize, that you would take another $20,000 out, you'd be down at a cap rate of about 3.5% when market cap rates are 6.5 to 7. So really overpaying it from an income perspective. The sales method, which they argued was more appropriate, and it probably is in this situation, it's well done, but this appraisal has premiums built into it. So they have adjusted the comps as you do when you do an appraisal, and they've adjusted the comps up for timing, for size, for the premium location being close to Atlantic Boulevard, and then the appraiser also selected kind of the high end of the range, from 95 to 105. So there are premiums on top of premiums built into this appraisal, and then we're also paying a premium on top of that. So I do have some concerns that paying $110 per square foot, which is a 20% premium over the unadjusted comps here, for me, it's too much, actually, once I started digging into this. So the most important thing we do is spend people's money, and I wouldn't pay this premium, so I can't justify it. But like I said at the last meeting, I do understand this is a strategic asset, and it is hard to value given the income approach, I think, has to be thrown out because you'd never actually get to this valuation based on income. The sales approach is premium on top of premium on top of premium, so it's too much for me. But thank you for including that. We should try to do that in all backup in the future for these. Thank you.
Very good. Further commission discussion. Commissioner Moss.
Yeah, I looked at it closely too, and actually it was very well written. They were fortunate that they had the
comparables in this market data analysis that they did, because generally, it's hard to find something on federal highway. And I understand Commissioner Fournier's concern, but, in actual fact, the income approach is just put in there as a little extra window dressing. It's never as much emphasis put on that. It's mostly the sales comparison approach. So I thought that it was very well written, and I read it very closely, and the people who wrote it were well qualified. And also, it's standard operating procedures to make adjustments for time, location, distance, those things. So, I thought it was a very well-written appraisal, and yeah, we're paying a little bit more for it, but how many lots are there on Federal Highway that are in our, urban renewal area? So I'll support it.
Very good. Further commission discussion? Questions, concerns? Seeing Commissioner Perkins?
Thank you, Mayor. This is a very high number. My question is, it says providing an effective date and other purposes. What is other purposes?
That's standard language that we put on our resolutions, but the crux of it is the contract itself specifies the time for closing and all the conditions that must be met for the CRA to close on the purchase. So it's just standard language. There are no other intended purposes other than the purchase of the property, and then offering leases to all of the commercial tenants in good standing.
Okay, I just want to make sure it was the purchase of the property only. Okay, thank you.
My attorney speaks for me, Mayor. Thank you.
Very good. Vice Mayor McGee?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a little bit on the high side looking at certain ways, but I think as part of an assemblage and what we are going to be doing moving forward in that area is going to be extraordinarily valuable. And I look forward to seeing the City Commission, the CRA staff and everyone moving forward, make sure we do well by our taxpayers on this investment on the redevelopment end and sell side.
Very good. Further commission discussion? Questions, concerns? Seeing none, let's go ahead and call the roll.
Commissioner Fournier,
No.
Commissioner Moss,
Yes?
Commissioner Perkins,
No,
Commissioner Seegerson-Eaton,
Yes.
Vice Chair McGee,
Yes.
Chair Harden.
Yes, very good. That concludes our regular agenda. That takes us up to reports. Mr. Harrison, any report?
No report, sir.
Very good. Mr. Berman, any reports since you're filling in for Ms. McKenna?
On behalf of Ms. McKenna, no reports. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Our next meeting date will be January 23rd, 2024 at 5 p.m. That's a City Commission and CRA Board special joint meeting. So that's on January 23rd. Then on February 20th, 2024 at 1 p.m., a regular CRA Board meeting. That takes us up to our CRA Board members. Commissioner Fournier.
No report.
Very good. Commissioner Moss.
No report.
Commissioner Perkins.
no report.
Commissioner Seegerson-Eaton.
No report.
Vice Mayor McGee.
Happy 2024. No report.
Very good. Likewise, happy 2024 and no report. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone. If we could please be seated and quiet down a little bit, let's go ahead and call the Pompano Beach City Commission meeting January 9th, 2024 at 1 o'clock to order. If I could ask everyone to please silence their cell phones or put them on vibrate. That way we don't get disrupted during the meeting. So please put your cell phones on silent. That would be great. Curvin, let's go ahead and call the roll.
Commissioner Fournier,
Here.
Commissioner Moss,
Here.
Commissioner Perkins,
Here.
Commissioner Seegerson-Eaton,
Here.
Vice Chair McGee,
Here.
Chair Harden.
Here, thank you. The invocation today will be given by Bishop Lewis Sanders from the Macedonia Missionary Baptist Church. If I could ask the pastor to come forward. Let's all rise for the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you for the opportunity. Let us pray. Our Father, we come before your presence thanking you for life, health, and strength. Thank you for another moment, another time, another year, another day, another minute. We come to handle and ask your requests, as you did last year, to be kind again this year. Touch the minds and hearts and soul of these leaders, that the decision may come from heaven. And the decision and what was done for the city, that you will be pleased with their efforts, and the people of the city will be blessed. Have your way, we pray. Fill this atmosphere with your presence. We give you glory, honor, and praise. In the name of Jesus, we say amen.
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 I pledge allegiance. Thank you. You may be seated. Can I get a motion approving the regular City Commission meeting minutes of December 12th, 2023?
So moved.
Second?
And seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Thank you for that. Are there any changes to our agenda today, Mr. Harrison?
No, sir.
Very good. Can I get a motion approving the agenda as printed?
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Thank you. On our consent agenda today, we have no items have been pulled. So items 1 through 5 will be eligible for discussion during audience to be heard. So no items have been pulled. That takes us up to our first order of business here, which is a proclamation of appreciation. Proclamation of appreciation to Fire Chief Chad Briccato for his years of service with the city of Pompano Beach. If the Fire Chief Briccato could meet me over here, that would be ideal. Thank you, Chief. Thanks for all you've done. All right, this is just this proclamation to say thank you for all that the Chief Briccato has done for our city, for our department, for the residents of this. Indeed, an honor to be the mayor. Chief, you had a large hand in making it what it is, and it doesn't go unnoticed what you've done. I know you've got folks that are in place to carry on and make sure that they make sure that the department stays as good as you left it in, right? But yes, you've certainly left a mark on the city of Pompano Beach and fire rescue service overall, so thank you for that. So whereas Fire Chief Chad Briccato has protected the citizens of Pompano Beach for more than 7 years with honor and distinction, demonstrating always his willingness to place his concern for the public good. And whereas Chief Briccato has earned the respect and admiration of everyone with whom he has come into contact by dedicating his life in service to his country, county, and city. Whereas it is only fitting that we honor and thank Chief Briccato for serving the citizens of Pompano Beach during his years with Pompano Beach Fire Rescue. Now, therefore, I, Rex Harden, Mayor of the City of Pompano Beach, do hereby join the City Commission and residents in bestowing our pride, support, and gratitude to Fire Chief Chad Briccato for all of his accomplishments, both personally and professionally, and I urge the residents of Pompano Beach to recognize these outstanding efforts. We are proud Chief Briccato has faithfully watched over the City of Pompano Beach during his tenure here and wish him the best in the years to come. Done this 9th day of January, 2024. Rex Harden, Mayor. Chief, thank you so much for what you have done for our city.
Thank you. Thank you. A lot of times I got up here and I was asking for money. Today I'm asking for nothing. So it was an honor and a blessing. I always say that really I did it for these fine men and women who serve this city. I did it for the commission. You have been a wonderful commission. I've been very, very proud to work under you. I've been proud to work under Mr. Harrison, both as a boss and as a mentor. And amazing men and women that I work with on the city staff, the administration. Really, this is a wonderful place. And it was a blessing all the time, and I was very, very fortunate to be here. I ask you to keep doing the great job that you do. I really have my whole career, I was always thinking that really I'm here for you, you're not here for me. And I think Chief Hudson certainly will carry on that legacy. He's a very good fire chief, and I'm looking forward to watching him blossom as well. But thank you so much. Honestly, every single day was a blessing. Thank you. I got like 15.
All right, and Chief, we will see you soon. Thank you for that. All right, that takes us up to audience to be heard. Kervin, do we have anyone signed up for audience to be heard?
Yes, we do, Mayor. We have 6 speakers.
Very good.
First speaker, Dana Golson, followed by Ed Phillips, followed by Kenneth Stipp. Yes.
Just name and address for the record.
Hi, Dana Golson, 629 Northwest 21st Avenue, here in Pompano Beach. Good afternoon, Mayor and city leaders. I'm here on behalf of where I reside, which is Sable Chase Homeowners Association. It's a 49-unit community that, to my understanding, was turned over and moved in by the residents in 2007. Most received grants, first-time homeowners grants by the city and state. I purchased my property June 2020. Since then, I purchased in a homeowners association because of the benefits and the restrictions, et cetera. The property has really deteriorated to the point where I have to escalate this. Some issues that appear could be impacting from on the city's point of view, as well as the state's. When I contacted City Hall last month, they recommended that I reach out to my commissioner, which I did. And regrettably, that meeting didn't take place last week, so I'm here to seek some guidance how I can move forward with respect to code compliance and other in other areas that affect the city, and then I can escalate it to the state, please.
Gotcha. Well, we can certainly help with code enforcement. I know the homeowners association get a little dicey, the rules and regulations
Yes.
involved there. But as far as code enforcement goes, we're well capable of that. Right in the back over there in the corner, he's got his hand raised. That's Mario Sotolongo. He's in charge of our code enforcement division. If you could get with him, and he can certainly have an officer, code compliance officer, go out there and take a look at the situation and see what we can get done.
And then other issues that I have, could he provide guidance to that, or I should reach out other departments?
Well, as far as the upkeep, the maintenance of the area, he can cite for. We've got lots of different rules and regulations that the city has. That's outside of your homeowners association. Between you and your homeowners association, the city really doesn't get involved in that.
I understand it. There are certain things that I think does impact the city.
Sure. But get with Mario first and see, and he'll do all he can. And if there's more that needs to be done, just let us know. You can email me, contact me, or the commissioner, whichever. And we'll do everything we can.
Okay. I see that Commissioner Moss, you have experience with condo associations, and this is HOA. Can I reach out to your office? I know Commissioner Perkins I'm in your district, but regrettably that meeting didn't take place. But perhaps we can collaborate and provide some guidance.
Or call my office number. On that number, you will get a referral to my home number. Call me at home.
Thank you. All right. Okay. I look forward to coming back and giving some positive news
Very good.
because I enjoy living in this town.
Thank you for that. Just get with Mario. That's very good. Thank you. Next speaker.
Ed Phillips.
Don't start that time until I get up here.
Mayor, Commissioners, City staff, my name is Ed Phillips. I currently reside at 384 Northwest 19th Street, Pompano Beach. I will start by saying I come from an era of dreamers, an era of doers. And I learned from words like a president once said, some men dream dreams and ask why. I dream dreams and ask why not. And so I learned from another man who said, our lives begin to end when we are silent about those things that matter, Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. And so Tiger Trail Festival is an entity of which we feel is an outreach to the larger community about what is right and what is historic. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank this city, this commission for all they've done in ensuring that Black history is American history. I'd like to thank this city for ensuring that the number of events that we've evolved over the years, which has been significant, are pulled off and actually do happen. And it happens because of the support of this commission and city staff. And in addition to that, I must let folks understand that Tiger Trail Festival events are pulled off by volunteers, pretty much. We have at least 20, 30 folks from the neighborhood in the community who actually come out and make these things happen. What you have before you is a significant number of events, which are very costly, but somehow, with the help of the city and a number of the sponsors that we have, we managed to raise the money to put these events on. We have a Black Tie Gala coming up. That theme is educators reaching and teaching beyond, and you'll find that there are a significant number of people from the area who are educators who are reaching beyond just being teachers. We have something called Let's Talk About a Gun Forum. The gun forum in this area is very significant because it is just wild out here. And I had this lady once say, baby, you got to keep talking to them. So the gun forum is going to be happening. I see the time is moving, so I'm going to try to be as quick as I can. We have a 5K run, of which the mayor runs, and I understand one or two other commissioners may decide to run. We'll see how that goes. And I'm going to be running. And I'd like to see the city manager come out there and run, at least walk. We have Cuyahoga City Trailblazers. We have the Kid Festival. We actually have the festival itself. I will tell you, this is the first time this is, first of all, the only street festival in the city of Pompano. This is the first time we have this variety of entertainment. We have reggae, excuse me. We have multiracial. We have hip hop. I was one time a little adverse to it, but the last time we had an event, it went off well. So if anybody would like to be involved in the public, TigerTrailFestival.com is our website. The gala fills up. Of course, the city commissioners have a seat at that gala. There have been commissioners over the years who have shown up. You will find that we have quite a number of people who are involved now. Thank you very much. Don't forget, Black history is American history, but we still have hope and faith with the spirit of inclusion. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Phillips, for that, and thank you to all the volunteers who helped make Tiger Trail Festival series of events happen. Thank you so much. Next speaker.
Next speaker, Kenneth Steph, followed by Jocelyn Jackson, followed by Zachary Cook, followed by Roderick Phillips.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to speak for the homeless outreach program. I just wrote something down. I won't waste a lot of your time. My name's Kenny. I'm originally from the south side of Chicago. I'm 50 years old. I'm a former scholarship baseball player and student at the Southern Illinois University. Been down here for a couple of years now. I've been a hard worker throughout my life. I've been through every spectrum of life, good and bad. I've been dealing with addiction on and off for about 25 years. The last run took me down a path that almost ended with the end of my life, which scared me because there was truly nowhere to turn. I turned to the Lord and asked for help, and He answered me more than once. I was able to get myself to a facility, clean up, and get the medical attention I needed. This process was costly and very scary to face, knowing I was looking at an intimidating road. Without help, I don't know where I would be. At this point, I was out of money, and most of my resources were drained. That's when the community outreach and courts, I met the outreach team. And you want to talk about timing. From the point they helped me not only get documents and resources, but housing, which at the time was crucial. After 4 months of fighting for sobriety and looking at the possibility, I ended up right where I started. They took that out of the equation for me. There are more people than ever dealing with the same issues that I dealt with. And not all of them are good people, but people that are there and willing to get better are worth every resource this team can provide. Addiction does not discriminate, and there are only a couple ways that it ends, which none of are good if they're not dealt with. That's what these guys do, is save lives. I believe there's still a lot of lives that they can save, and without their help, excuse me, there will be a lot more loss. Remember I said addiction does not discriminate. One of the lives that they could save could be someone you know or love. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And good luck with everything. Thank you, sir. Absolutely. Next speaker.
Jocelyn Jackson.
Good afternoon. Happy New Year, Jocelyn Jackson. I first would like to say, elaborate on Dr. King Day. Martin Luther King Day is coming up. And I just think, for me, visiting other cities, other counties, that is more activity and action is going on. Dr. King Boulevard, I'm looking to see, pictures, different things, that shows the reason why we celebrate Dr. King Day. It's a very important day to us. It has a lot to do with our history, just as well as we have to embrace the different holidays for other cultures, for other races. So that's a big concern for me, Dr. King Day. And I don't understand why we're having Dr. King Day at Ely, Blanche Ely, in the corridors over there, versus celebrating it on Dr. King Boulevard. So whomever, a lot of residents, they brought it to my attention. It was in the discussion why we don't celebrate Dr. King on Dr. King Boulevard. The next major concern that I have, the shootings, the murders that we endure as a community. And I understand and I sympathize to an extent that BSO is paid out millions of dollars a year to protect and serve the citizens of the community. What do we have in place to remove these corner stores within the community? They got to go. And what's going on with the BSO substation in Collier City? What's going on? We need some solutions. Our culture is dying out here. They're dying. 2 murders occurred in Collier City during the holiday. What are we doing about it? I hear BSO, oh, we working on it, Jocelyn. We getting, okay, guess what? These murders have more impact on the community than other things, other issues to come about of the city with someone jaywalking or disturbance. What are we doing about these murders? What we got lined up, Mayor? That's what the community want to know. The community is crying out, and we need answers.
Very good. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Next speaker.
Zachary Cook, followed by Roderick Phillips.
Family tree story. My great-great-grandfather, James Milton Cook, was born and raised and died in the state of Georgia, but he had 11 children with his wife, Carrie Bell Dean. Of those children, one was my great-grandfather, Collie Earl Cook Sr., otherwise known as Cookie by his family and the locals here in Pompano Beach. Cookie was the first Cook resident here in Pompano Beach and owns several auto repair garages here in town, the last of which being over on 2011 Dixie Highway, just across from the blimp base. He had a wife named Viola Carter, whose lineage I can trace back to the 10th century in France. They had 9 children. They are both buried together right here in the Pompano Beach Cemetery on Atlantic, with 3 of their children at their feet. Of those 9 kids, Collie Earl Cook Sr., my grandfather, would marry my grandmother, Lola Lorraine Martin, who later remarried and became Lola Haynes, and lived with me and my mother until her death in 2002. My grandparents would have 6 children, my mother, my 2 aunts, and my 3 uncles. All my family attended Pompano Beach Elementary, Pompano Beach Middle, and Pompano Beach High before it became a magnet program. More on that later. My mother and me, and 7 years later, my mother had me, and 7 years later had my sister Mackenzie. I was the last one out of all my cousins to attend Pompano Beach Elementary, Pompano Beach Middle. My sister went to a private school, St. Ambrose, down on Federal. She was the favorite. The reason I could not go to Pompano Beach High was because it was turned into a magnet program while I was in the 6th grade, same year as 9/11. My mother spoofed our address using a friend's address at the time and got me into Coral Springs High School for 9th grade. That was until the school board found out where I lived here in Pompano, kicked me out of Coral Springs High with only 2 months left of the school year, and sent me to Ely High for my last 2 months of 9th grade. But I digress. As time went on, family member after family member left Pompano Beach, myself included, where we moved to Tallahassee for 10 years from 2005. I turned 18 in 2008 during the Great Recession. Welcome to adulthood, kid. And then moved down to the Orlando area in 2015, where I went to college at Full Sail University, where I obtained my bachelor's degree in recording engineering. I then moved to Los Angeles after graduation, worked as a sound engineer in film, television, and video games for 2 years up until the pandemic. I returned here to home in Pompano Beach in 2020, where my best friend's dad, Tom Curran, allowed us to stay with him until things blew over. So after being here for another 2 years during the pandemic, I eventually ended up going back to Los Angeles, but as you know, last year we had an industry-wide strike, so I found myself back here again. All this is to say, so much has changed in this town and with my family history since my great-grandfather came here. I'm now the last Cook family member, 4th generation living here in Pompano Beach, which no matter how much it changes, it will always be my home. Thank you guys for listening to my story.
Very good. Sir, can you just give your name for the record? Thank you.
I should have done that. My name is Zachary Cook. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very good. Next speaker.
Roderick.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rob Phillips. I reside at 2620 Northwest 10th Street. And I'm with the New Life Group, Alcoholic Anonymous, and we help with the homeless, the indigent, the mentally ill, the people that everybody want to discard. I'm here before you today because in Pompano, every corner store and every building has a big green sign that says, no trespassing. Broward Sheriff Office is overworked, overburdened, and you never see them when the homeless is out there doing what they do. Now, we have a building, 160 North Powerland Road, where the homeless have taken up affordable housing. What I call affordable housing is where you live rent-free in the streets and on the sidewalks. They have started busting the impact windows at this building where my brother has a business. They are there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's no solution. BSO don't have a solution. The city of Pompano don't have a solution. No one has a solution. But we can look around and spend billions of dollars on apartments and condos that nobody can afford to live in. I mean, affordable housing in Pompano is starting to become a point where I'm thinking about getting affordable housing, just wilding out in the streets, because in the summertime, it's wonderful. I was homeless for 1 year. It's not a good thing. But the city of Pompano need to do more. BSO need to do more about the homeless situation. I don't think they care. I think the city don't care. I think once you get home in your comfortable place of living, you don't have to look at these indigent people that are making the city look bad. And we one of the biggest cities in the, I think, in the United States, Pompano. But I'm not sure. But I think that we need to do more. If we could put $1,500,000 out somewhere, or we could put all these buildings and spend all this money, CRA money, to move, we could pay to help the homeless move. We need to come with a plan to figure out how to help these people go back to where they came from, help them with some of this CRA money that we got. We building all these billion-dollar homes, and either get a sheriff some more money so they can hire some more people to really put out a homeless advocacy. I think that'll be a good thing for the city to consider. Give the sheriff department more money so they can hire some more people. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Any further speakers?
That concludes audience to be heard, Mayor.
Very good. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate everyone's input. That takes us up to our consent agenda items. Can I get a motion to approve items 1 through 5?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. That takes us up to our regular agenda. Item number 6 is a resolution.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Pompano Beach, Florida, approving and authorizing the proper city officials to apply for the State of Florida Department of Environmental Protection State Revolving Loan Fund Loan Program to finance South Riverside Drive stormwater improvements, making findings, authorizing the loan application, approving and authorizing the loan agreement, establishing pledged revenues, designating authorized representatives, authorizing the proper city officials to execute the loan agreement, providing assurances, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second for discussion. Good afternoon, Mr. Brown.
Evening, afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. Randy Brown, Utilities Director. This is a planned stormwater improvement for South Riverside Drive.
Very good. Thank you for that. This is a public hearing. Is there any input from the public on this item? Seeing none, public input closed. Commission discussion, questions, concerns? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Moss,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Seeger-Eaton,
Yes.
Vice Mayor McGee,
Yes?
Harden.
Yes, very good. Item number 7 is the second reading of an ordinance.
An ordinance amending Chapter 31, City Officials of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pompano Beach by amending Section 31.01 Travel and Subsistence Allowances to modify the procedures for payment of authorized travel expenses, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
So moved?
Second?
Moved and second for discussion. Good afternoon, Ms. Furtado.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. This is the second reading for a change in our travel and subsistence allowance. There has been no changes since our first reading.
Very good, thank you for that. This is a public hearing. Is there any input from the public on this item? Seeing none, public input closed. Commission discussion, questions, concerns? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Moss,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Seeger-Eaton,
Yes.
Vice Mayor McGee,
Yes?
Mayor Harden.
Yes, item number 8 is the second reading of an ordinance.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Pompano Beach, Florida, approving and authorizing the proper city officials to execute a software license and service agreement between United Public Safety, Inc. and the City of Pompano Beach for license plate reading technology for parking enforcement, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
So moved?
Second?
Moved and second for discussion. Good afternoon, Mr. Lance.
Afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Jeff Lance, Parking Manager. Second reading of this item. There have been no changes, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Very good. Thank you. This is a public hearing. Is there any input from the public on this item?
Good afternoon again. Zachary Cook, 603 Northeast 9th Avenue. I do have a question about that, actually. Over on the four fields just across the street from Pompano Beach Elementary, that street that kind of cuts through right between them, there's two of those plate readers that are kind of facing that road right there, one for each direction. Is that related to what you do?
Not at all.
No.
No, sir.
Okay. Just wondering. I see those all the time, and I wonder what their purpose is. Get some enlightenment on that.
It's not for parking enforcement.
It's not for parking enforcement. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Further input from the public? Seeing none, public input closed. Commission discussion, questions, concerns? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Moss,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Seeger-Eaton,
Yes.
Vice Mayor McGee,
Yes?
Mayor Harden.
Yes, item number 9 is the first reading of an ordinance.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Pompano Beach, Florida, approving and authorizing the proper city officials to execute a service contract between the City of Pompano Beach and Nova Southeastern University, Inc. to provide turtle monitoring services, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
So moved?
Second?
Moved and second for discussion. Good afternoon, Mr. Ketchum.
Good afternoon, Russ Ketchum, Director of Environmental Services. This is a contract that the city is entering or proposing to be entered into with the turtle monitoring firm, which is Nova University, who has the obligation through the Florida Department, the DEP, to monitor the turtles. The reason why we're entering into this particular contract is because at the beginning of the turtle season and at the end of the turtle season, the funding that they receive from the state does seem to wane a little bit, and historically, that would not provide us the assets needed to get onto the beach at an early time. Subsequently, the beach cleaning, lifeguards would have to wait later. Beach would be a little bit busy. So this contract is, we will fund those so the monitors can go out there early, clear the beach, we can get our cleaning services out there, and the lifeguards can enter the beach prior to a lot of public being out there.
Very good. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. This is a public hearing. Is there any input from the public on this item? Please come forward. Just name and address for the record.
Zachary Cook, 603 Northeast 9th Avenue. Good morning, or afternoon, rather. I love environmental services, anything that has to do with protecting our marine life and stuff. I'm assuming you're talking about sea turtles and the nesting on the beach, correct? Right. So the biggest thing that I see is people that go around there and mess with, the nest. They don't go into it, they don't dig it up, but they're curious, Is there ever going to be a way to put more signage up when you're taping off those areas? Because typically all you see is the stakes with the orange tape around it, and that's it. A lot of people don't really, especially from out of town, don't know what that's all about. Is there a way to be more transparent, to let people know, like, this is an off-limits area? Please do not disturb it, don't step on it, don't dig it up, because we know how people can be, right? And our marine life means everything. Without that, our ocean gets disgusting, and we can't go boating, swimming, marine life gets out of control. So they're very important, obviously. Is there a way that we can, I understand that your funding is probably more or less to get the staff out there, but what about more, don't come here, don't step on this area? What's being done about that?
Sure, we can look into expanding that. That's not a problem. That is something that, again, the DEP regulates through NOVA, but we can definitely assist them and work with them, so we'll reach out with them.
Yeah, that's something that should be definitely considered because, again, like I said, we have a lot of tourists from Canada, New York, overseas, and they don't quite understand what that means. They might just think, oh, sinkhole, or I don't know, want to go play with it. Of course, when you tell people don't do something, what do they want to do? They want to mess with it 9 times out of 10. So I am all for the conservation of those things, those little guys, because I've seen them hatch. It's incredible, and yeah, however we can just protect them. Because once they get out of the shells, you got the seagulls coming down and the crabs coming out and everything wants to eat them. The last thing we need is human interference, inadvertently or on purpose. So that's something I would strongly advise because I've seen those nesting tape-offs out there, and that's the one thing I could concern about. Is like, there's nothing really saying turtle nesting don't disturb. Every once in a while there might be, but that's not to say a windstorm can't blow that little sign away or something. We need more of a, like a street sign right in the sand until that thing hatches, then we pull it out.
Very good point.
Thank
you. Further input from the public? Seeing none, public input closed. Commission discussion, questions, concerns. I've got a question. So this, you say this is kind of like gap funding, beginning and end of season, because the state funds the rest of the season, basically.
Well, the state actually funds. They give them X amount of dollars, and it's for a period of time. And so the beginning and the ending of the season are typically the light parts of the season, if you will. So what NOVA has done historically is focus those assets on the high peak, if you will. They still have people out there doing their job. However, it's not the 3-4 monitors that you would normally see. It's one, and they start south and they work their way north. So yes, gap would be a good analogy.
Okay, but the funding hasn't really changed at all from the state?
Not that I'm aware of, not enough to give them full capacity throughout the whole season.
Okay, because yeah, I just, I can envision, well, okay, if word gets out that we're spending not that it's not worthy, but if we're spending $21,000, it's like, well, the state might say, well, they're willing to spend 21, maybe we can give them foot the whole bill and pass it down to us. I'd hate to see that happen. Very good, thank you. Vice Mayor McGee?
Kind of going on the ideas of what was brought up, as I know our dune renourishment things has had a lot of success with people adopting dunes and companies helping fund that way. Have we explored or can we explore that at all?
We can definitely look into seeing if there's some sponsors or something to that effect. Again, this was something that the city felt that did have a high value because again, it's not that we can't get on the beach, we can. Not that the city assets lifeguards can't get on the beach, they can. But to drive your vehicles must be at a later time. So due to we felt the urgency.
No, I definitely, because I watched the beach cleaners, especially when people set up their chairs already near the water line, and then it gets all a mess, and sometimes it's on or too close to a sea turtle nest. But it just, as in the audience and in general, people are really wanting to save the sea turtles, wanting to keep our beaches pristine, and with the successful outreach, I think with the dune renourishment companies and individuals taking ownership of the dunes, maybe there's an opportunity there to help with the funding with that way too, and just look out for it.
Understood.
Very good. Further commission discussion? Questions? Seeing none, let's go ahead and call the roll.
Commissioner Fournier?
Yes.
Commissioner Moss?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Sigerson-Eaton?
Yes.
Vice Mayor McGee?
Yes.
Mayor Harden?
Yes. Item number 10 is the first reading of an ordinance.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Pompano Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 70, General Provisions of the Pompano Beach Code of Ordinances by amending Section 70.11, illegally parked vehicles to provide for the use of electronic parking enforcement technology, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and second for discussion. Once again, Mr. Lance.
Afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Jeff Lance, Parking Manager. Item before you this afternoon would allow staff to further investigate technology to assist in our parking enforcement program. Additional wording will be added to our Code of Ordinances, Chapter 7011, to further investigate and implement technology related to parking enforcement when determined it would be most effective. With the increasing demand for parking, and as our city infrastructure grows, we wish to continue to seek technology to support our parking enforcement operations. In the event staff is able to locate and fully vet new technology to assist parking enforcement, all agreements would be brought to the City Commission for prior approval. In every case, any technology, with any new technology, any citation that is issued would not be issued to the citizen without prior review and approval by city staff. That concludes my presentation.
Very good. Thank you for that. This is a public hearing. Is there any input from the public on this item? Seeing none, public input closed. Commission discussion. Vice Mayor?
Yes, I know we had a pretty extended debate on this when it first came up in November, and I know I wasn't specifically comfortable with looking into cameras for enforcement at this time, and more of a Big Brother sort of vibe on that. And I know we had discussed, the license plate readers or other technologies. So right now, the fact that this specifically says including but not limited to cameras, I still couldn't support this as written. With the cameras being, to me, this feels like we are approving cameras at this point. I'm all about looking into new technologies and sensors and where you can park, but at this point, I would not be wanting to authorize even looking into cameras at the moment. So thank you.
Okay, very good. Commissioner Fournier.
I had the same concerns when we postponed this, and we've added language here that we had requested, but I guess I'm still not clear on how this language, what happens in practice. So if you decide that you want to, I think I used the example last time, put a camera on the meters or something, and all the meters have cameras on them now. You need to come to us first to tell us about this technology and get approval for that specific technology or any specific technology, like I had the last time about this. But this provides us, I guess, some comfort that we're not really approving anything. We're just approving your ability to look at technologies that you would then bring back to us.
By putting that wording in our ordinance, yes, that's exactly what you're doing. Nothing specific on this item, and anything specific would be brought to commission for approval.
Okay, thank you.
Go back to Vice Mayor.
Is there anything in our ordinances that prevents you from looking into technology without this additional language?
Yeah, the language specifically calls for law enforcement or properly credentialed civilians are all that are allowed at this time to issue citations.
No, I'm saying to explore technologies that are available.
No.
So even without this ordinance, if you wanted to look into other parking technologies and bring them to us for approval at a later date, you could?
Yes, we could. At that point, we'd have to, if we were going to go down that route, we would have to put this language into Ordinance 70.11.
Right. So that's where I don't understand needing to put this language in now. And again, to me, it feels as though I would be supporting us looking into cameras, where I could say right now that I would rather not waste the energy on that at this point in time. On cameras specifically. So just, again, the fact that it's so added in there, and I just don't know why it's necessary. Thank you.
Commissioner Segerson-Eden.
Thank you, Mayor. So I do have a little different sort of take on it, because I really used to feel the same way. It's like Big Brother is watching sort of thing. But especially when we're dealing with crime and being able to, I think, deter crime, that the idea that you have privacy on a public thoroughfare, a public sidewalk, on public lands, and we have, much technology out there already. As I recall, we had cameras that were able to identify the people that vandalized the glass artwork on the pier, and that was very effective. And I think we have our live pier cam and our live beach cam. So you can look at all the people that are using the public beaches, walking down the street. You can see a lot. and it is effective, and I think as a deterrent to crime. And so don't think we really have that expectation of privacy. And I also think that, I think it's really short, I think that this would allow us to be able to look at different methodologies, different technology to help us more easily do our jobs. And it's doing the job, you know, helping with law enforcement, helping with solving crimes. And we are now, you know, having a big discussion on AI and how that's going to play a role. So I think there's a burgeoning technology there, you know, it's getting more and more, and I just feel like we should be in a position where we can start to look at those technologies as a way of helping the city do their job, enforce our parking, and et cetera. So I will support this item. Thank you.
Mr. Lance, just so basically, right now you can investigate any technology you want to as far as parking enforcement or anything else. I mean, you can investigate. That's what staff does all the time. But by having the proposed wording that you have brought forward, that would enable you to go ahead and then just bring some technology forward to the City Commission in the form of a resolution stating that, okay, the City Commission supports the use of cameras on parking meters in the city of Pompano Beach. And that would be a technology you have already investigated, but then you would bring it to the city and it'd be a simple resolution. It wouldn't require an ordinance change. Is that basically what you're looking for here?
Yeah, that's exactly correct.
Okay, because yeah, I mean, I assume you're always investigating technology as it is, but this, you know that sooner or later something is going to change, and you're going to need to change this ordinance, and you're just doing it ahead of time. So, but still, the City Commission has the ultimate authority to say yay or nay to any parking technology that you bring forward in the future.
Absolutely. It would effectively allow us to keep continually looking for technology, negotiate, and as if we find something and vet it, we can negotiate that agreement. But before anything is signed, that we would bring those agreements to the City Commission. If you didn't agree, then we would that's where it would end.
Gotcha. I just want to make sure that the public was clear here that, you know, it's basic, because an ordinance takes 2 readings and all this kind of stuff. But I mean, a contract would of course require readings in the future also. But it's no, I got it. Okay, thank you. Vice Mayor?
And I would rather see it take 2 readings and contract negotiations at the time in which it's going to be enforced. And I do agree with Commissioner Seegerson and Eaton that, yes, the world is moving very quickly in this direction. But that's why we're here to, where do we want to draw our lines? Where do we protect the public from AI? You know, China's already using facial recognition technology to issue jaywalking tickets. Are we going to be crossing that line and just having computers get to the point where computers are issuing tickets if you're off your parking meter by 2 minutes because you forgot to get on your app real quick? Like, it's such a slippery slope. And then you have, 15-minute cities that are monitoring their citizens and charging them to leave their driveways. Like, there's a lot of scary technology that we're all looking for, and it's coming fast, and I get it. And that's why, for me, I would want to pump as many brakes as we can, but make sure whatever commission is here at the time that goes through is completely vetted, and that the wording is tight no matter what technology we bring in to protect privacy. Because yeah, it's in your homes, but you can also choose to not have an Alexa, not have a smart refrigerator, monitoring your calendars. And it's just, yeah, are we probably going in that direction? For sure. But I know, as personally for me, I want to fight it at tooth and nail as much as I can. So yes, that's where my very uncomfortableness comes with this.
Okay, please, sir. Commissioner Fournier.
Of course we're being watched. We all know that everywhere. This is about how we're using that data that is collected. I guess I'm seeing this or hearing from you, Mr. Lance, that there's 2 parts of this. One is this electronic technology that we are uncomfortable with, or some of us are. And the other part is who specifically can use that to write a ticket. And right now, you cannot do that. Is that, so law,
Our parking enforcement is through a contract with a private company. They're civilians, they're certified and trained to do parking enforcement. None of the information that we can garner from reading a license plate number is anything other than whether they've paid or they haven't paid. There's no personal information, no access to any personal information.
okay, but this would allow these third parties that we've contracted with to look at the data and write tickets once we decide what technology we're going to move forward with.
There could be new technology, but it would not be a third party. It would be our contracted parking enforcement company.
Okay.
Commissioner Moss.
This is something that we're going to need in the future when you bring forth some new technology. Why are we dealing with it now and not dealing with it in the future? Why are we dealing with this today?
Mr. Lance?
The main reason that we would like to put this wording in there, into the ordinance 70.11, is to allow us to continue to look, but if we find something we think might be valuable and might be worthy, to negotiate with that company to get our best deal, to fully vet that company. And before any contracts are signed, we would then bring that back to you. So it's, in effect, it's saving us a little bit of time, knowing that we're not going down a road that the commission would never approve.
So without our passing this, you cannot investigate new technology, you cannot have a conversation with a vendor, and you cannot draw up a proposed contract. Is that what you're saying?
We can, but without this language in there, it would not make sense to.
Well, I still don't understand. Well, I mean, if this is something we're going to need in the future, let's deal with it in the future when we're going to need it.
Okay.
Yankee common sense.
I hear you. Mr. Berman, you want to chime in?
Sure, Mayor, thank you. First of all, this initiated with such a contract that was going to come before for approval for parking technology. In looking at our code currently and unusually specifically sets forth how a parking citation or parking violation can be handled. It does not include or make provisions for use of electronic technology to the extent that that contract called for. Now, that contract went away, this remained. And to answer Commissioner Moss's question specifically, this would change the code now to allow us to bring any such matter before you for your approval before it's ever used. And that language was added based upon the concerns that all of you put forth at the meeting, I think it was in November. But we won't at that point have to go change the code, do an ordinance, 2 readings. We're having the ordinance changed now to prepare in case that ever comes before you. We can do it then, after we get a contract, and then have to wait for a month to 2 months, advertise. This sets up the code to be able to use that technology should all of you approve technology to use at a future date, that's all. It just makes that code change now in the ordinance and allows for the possibility. If you don't want to do it now, if we get such technology later and you want it, we would then have to go change the code later. So it's just more preemptive, it's more of a looking ahead type of situation for you.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Berman. Appreciate it. Further commission discussion, questions, concerns? Seeing none, let's go ahead and call the roll.
Commissioner Fournier?
No.
Commissioner Moss?
No.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Seegerstein-Eaton?
Yes.
Vice Mayor McGee?
No.
Mayor Harden?
No. Item number 11 is a first reading of an ordinance.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Pompano Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 32, Departments of the Pompano Beach Code of Ordinances by amending Section 32.39, competitive bidding, to provide for revision to the city's procurement procedures, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded for discussion. Good afternoon, Ms. Good. Dr. Good.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Tammy Good, CIP Manager. This ordinance amendment is relative to the competitive bidding process and the spending thresholds which establish when a construction project must be competitively bid versus just procuring construction services through an informal quotation process. Currently, any construction project that is valued in excess of $75,000 must be formally advertised through a competitive solicitation process. This involves hiring a design consultant to develop a comprehensive construction package, which can be very costly and time-consuming. And then the potential bidders will use that to develop their cost estimates and subsequent bidding. Preparing this competitive solicitation package is very time-consuming, and we go very often through the process, put the project out to bid only to receive 0 bids. This typically occurs due to the market conditions, where contractors are very busy, or because of the simplicity of the project or the low value of the project outweigh the associated risks and reduce profit margins. This primarily happens on smaller, less complex projects that are valued less than $500,000. To combat these constraints, which will seemingly become worse due to the declining value of the dollar and volatile market conditions, I propose to increase the spending threshold to $300,000 for projects that require a formal competitive solicitation. So basically what this means is for these simpler projects that are valued at less than $300,000, we'll procure construction services through an informal quotation process that's led by the procurement department. Keep in mind that the $300,000 threshold is not some arbitrary number, but rather an amount that aligns with Florida state statute, which was established in 2009. We could have proposed a lower value than that $300,000 number, but we felt that would not entirely capitalize on the significant cost savings and time reduction for projects that we could procure up to that threshold. So lastly, this amendment does not change the policy or procedures that are currently in place that guide the informal quotation process, nor will this proposed amendment increase spending or impact the previously approved budget by commission. This amendment is merely increasing the spending threshold for which projects require competitive bidding. Approval of this amendment will yield significant cost savings to the city, reduce the time to procure construction services, as well as allow greater economic opportunity for the smaller, disadvantaged local businesses. And that concludes my comments.
Very good. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. This is a public hearing. Is there any input from the public on this item? Seeing none, public input closed. Commission discussion. Questions? Commissioner Moss.
Yeah, the last time this was brought before, as I expressed, my opinion that I think it's a bridge too far. Since that time, I had a meeting with Dr. Good and Mr. Saropoulos, and we discussed this. In my days as an appraiser, when people would be arguing about a $10,000 difference between a sale price and an appraised value over an $800,000 home, people thought of that money being in their pocket, and $10,000 is a nice chunk of change. But when you reduce that number to a percentage and learn that it's 1/10 of 1%, that puts it in a different perspective. And what staff is asking us to do is to increase their allowance by 325%. That's what this represents, 325%. And that's, to me, it's too much. I do understand that prices have gone up. I do understand that having the threshold raised would make life a lot easier for staff, make the procurement process more efficient, but 325%, no. You know, we have a job up here. We're not just here to look beautiful, although we do. We're not here just to look beautiful. We're here to, keep an eye on things, and we have a responsibility. And to just turn over the responsibility of watching contracts and other things to the tune of $300,000. So if staff wanted to come back with something different, I could consider supporting it, like maybe a 100% increase from 75 to 150, but 325%, that's a very big percent. I think we as a commission have an obligation to keep an eye on how our money is spent, and just turning over the responsibility to staff to spend up to $300,000. Not that this staff would do it, but in the future, it could present an opportunity for people to pilfer. So at $300,000, I'm not going to support it. Thanks.
Very good. Commissioner Fournier.
Thank you, Mayor. So I also had subsequent conversations with Dr. Good, and I understand how this eliminates red tape, it speeds things up, it saves money in putting together, and not having to put together these bid packages. And I support this for those reasons. But I still am uncomfortable and share Commissioner Moss's discomfort about our role and responsibility here. So we do have an oversight role. People expect us to look at the money that is spent and understand the process for how it is spent. And this is $300,000 is a lot more. So one thing that I had suggested that would make me more comfortable is if there was some kind of policy that anything over 150 to 300,000 came to the commission for our approval, at least. So you don't have to do the competitive bid package. You would follow the guidelines you've laid out here, the procurement through the procurement process here. But we would have the opportunity to have that oversight for things that are higher dollar value. So in my head, it was $150,000 to $300,000. So I'm curious if something like that. If there's a way to do an administrative companion policy on that it comes to us, if that would make you more comfortable, because it makes me more comfortable. We would get the benefits, but also feel like we are doing our job with the oversight that people expect from us.
Would it be an approval process or just for an awareness?
I guess it would be an approval.
Because I'm not sure where that puts us as far as procurement. I mean, that's, we don't normally get involved in.
Correct, and keep in mind, all of the monies that we spend on these projects, you all will have already approved them via the budgeting process and approved all of the projects. So, I mean, that's something that we could potentially provide you in reports, or a monthly report showing all of the projects that we're procuring within that threshold or those parameters.
So are you saying it's not possible to come to us for something that's 150 to 300,000 where you're using this procurement process with bids or quotes and ask for our approval to move forward with it?
I mean, I guess anything's possible. I just think it would be redundant because you've already approved us to spend the money. You've already authorized us to spend the money.
We've talked about this with the budget when I sat down with you. The budget is a big, $300-400 million thing, and we're talking about really small items here. So it's not. I don't actually view when we approve the budget like that we're that much in the weeds here to look at $150,000 items.
So yes, anything is possible. And to answer the commissioner's question, anything's possible. We could do that, but it would require something more than what we're doing here right now. It would require something else in the procurement process.
And I suppose I would then ask, would you ever deny or reject if we brought something like that before you?
Why not?
Well, if I keep seeing Allison's Fencing Company getting a bunch of deals, then maybe. I mean, I'm joking, but like it's the transparency and the ability to look at it and see what's happening and see how many bids actually came through and the names of the companies that I think is valuable.
Yeah, I mean, that's public record now, absolutely.
I understand it's public record, but it's not something that we sit here and we can discuss and talk as a body about and then approve. It's just something we have to go find and ask you for.
Well, okay. Yeah, it's Commissioner Moss.
Yeah, I think I'm really object to your comparing. You're saying, well, you've already approved the budget, so you've already approved this expenditure. That's disingenuous, and I'm disappointed that you would bring that up. I truly am disappointed. I think that's kind of dishonest. So just because we've approved an $100 million budget doesn't mean we've said it's okay for you to spend it any way that you want to. And like Commissioner Fournier, I'm concerned about, lots of contracts going to Smiling Jack's Roofing Company, and Smiling Jack being our vice mayor's brother-in-law. So I think I like the idea of having some level of approval. I understand completely that it's a cumbersome process. I would like to do what we can to help move the process along, but I don't think that we should be giving up our obligation to the residents to keep an eye on how money is being spent.
Very good. Vice Mayor?
Just following along with this brainstorming, it's sort of a question slash thought process too. Would they come to us at the time of, okay, let's say we need a fence. At the time we say we need a fence, because in that case, could it not be beneficial to have it stated publicly in a meeting that we're looking for people to build a fence, and then more people, the small businesses in Pompano and such, are aware and could get in touch with the city, say, I have a fence company. Or would you want it at the end, once we've said, Joe's fencing company is doing it, and this is what we're moving forward with? Or would that just be a report after the fact, or both? Like, it's kind of more, I know we're getting in the weeds of it, but where would it be, and where would it be the most beneficial, both to the city to save the money and move things forward, but then also maybe find vendors who we didn't even know about? I don't know who I'm directing that question to. It's kind of to everybody.
Yeah, it's just kind of a general comment. Dr. Good, I think it might help. Can you give, just for us and also for the audience that is viewing this, can you give a concrete example of a situation that you have gone through for a particular project where this increase would have expedited it, saved money?
Yeah,
Concrete example.
Sure. One most recently, I'll use the North Pompano Beach or North Pompano Park as an example, the roof up there. So currently the roof is leaking and we need to make repairs. So we got a couple contractors out there, we showed them the roof, and we got a couple quotes. One of them was $150,000 to make the repairs, the other was $170,000 to replace the roof entirely. I also got a quote from an architect to do the design development proposal to put the package together to put out for competitive bidding, because both of those prices were over my spending threshold. His cost to put together a design package, and I have it, is almost $100,000. And so that's going to take him probably 2 months to put that package together, and then we would advertise it for 30 days. And then we would put the contract together, we would bring it before you. So it would probably be 5-6 months before we're ready to issue or award the contract to the contractor, after we've already spent well over $100,000 city time to spend $150,000, $170,000. Whereas if we increase this, it would expedite it, not only save the money on design, but it would also expedite the repair of the roof as well. Also, keep in mind, if this proposal were to be approved, or some aspect of it, we could potentially be spending or issuing a lot of purchase orders in that realm. So to say you would like, and I didn't mean to be disingenuous whatsoever, and I apologize if I came off that way. My point to that was everything is transparent as it is today. So if we were going to, hire a personal friend or a family member, we could do that today. The policy is not changing. Everything will remain as it is. We're just increasing the spending threshold to expedite time and save money. So we could be potentially bringing a lot of these before commission for approval, and I wouldn't want to inundate an agenda with 10 or 15 or 20 approvals for purchase orders within this price range as well.
Very good. So in your example, basically you've gotten a quote of $150 to patch a roof. Then somebody else gave you a price of $170 to replace the roof.
Right.
But if you were to go forward with replacing the roof, you would need to spend that extra $100,000 for the architect to actually come up with specifications. But you don't need the specifications to just go with the $170,000 price?
That's correct, because we're going to replace it in kind. But when you hire an architect to put that on a design package that we put out for bidding, we don't get to talk one-on-one with any of these contractors. And we advertise, when we advertise, we're inviting well over 500, sometimes 1,000 potential bidders to bid on the project. So we don't have a chance to speak to them one-on-one, so everything has to be very comprehensive and detailed in the design package so that everybody bids apples to apples, if you will. So yes, we would have to pay the architect to design a very comprehensive package, develop a comprehensive package to vet to the potential bidders.
So the $170,000 project to replace a roof turns into a $270,000 project plus because of staff time and everything else.
Correct. The The architect has to hire specialty subcontractor, designers, to, hire maybe a seal coating engineer, a structural engineer. So it's not just the architect's fees. They also have designer fees that are inclusive of design.
That's great. I just wanted to make sure people had a real life example of what we're talking about here, because because right now, if it were $75,000 to replace that roof, you could just go and do it right now.
It would have already been done.
Right.
I think another example is I don't know a lot of the background information, but the sales on the pier. I'm not going to speak for George, but I know he's gotten some proposals, all of which are also in these tiers, that if this amendment were to be approved, he probably would have already reached out and got the contractor on board, and maybe repairs would already have been made. But now we got to put together, or he may have to put together a package to put out on the street for competitive bidding, because it's going to be over our current spending threshold.
Wow, okay. Very good, thank you, I appreciate that, thank you. I've got Commissioner Segerson-Eaton, and then back to Commissioner Fournier.
Thanks. So another thing that concerns me is that the cost of everything is really rising rapidly. I just found out that the cost of installing sidewalks has gone up. So, and I mean, I have a little bit of a background in construction, and the way I'm looking at it is that, when you hire a general contractor to do a remodel job, they go out and then subsequently hire a drywall guy. They're going to do a flooring guy, window guy, plumbing, electrician, all of the different disciplines. And then, the contractor's not a licensed electrician, so he's hiring, but the contractor is tacking on considerable profit as well as onto the cost of the project. We all know that. I mean, but I'm just saying, in a way, the way I'm seeing this is that we're sort of acting as our own general contractor, where if you need a job paving a parking lot, for example, it might be a good idea. It might cost $100,000. Okay, it goes to procurement, the guy comes out, he paves. The proof is sort of in the pudding. But if it's more than $75,000 with, the cost of materials, as we know, has gone up, as we recall, remember with Horatio and all of the overages that we approved on the GO bond items during and after the pandemic, supply side, et cetera. So costs have definitely skyrocketed. And it seems to me it's just plain silly that I can't get the roof at North Pompano Park for the basketball court fixed or patched for $100,000 or $125,000 or whatever it costs. Because, my residents look at that and why? Okay, well, here's why. Because we have to spend an extra $100,000 hiring an architect, putting together the specifics, and not only, and I think Mr. Berman would agree, and I think anyone who's ever done but built a house, those construction documents are actually contracts that have to be fulfilled. They have to be, T's crossed and I's dotted, and that's very complex. So I think it's releasing some of the burden on our tax dollars, actually. And I could totally agree with what Commissioner Moss is saying, that yes, we have to be good stewards of our tax dollars. And I think by and large we are. We've got sterling audits for the last 10 years and no comments. And, it's very important. And I don't, I take it as well. But then also it's, people going like, well, why can't I get the roof fixed at North Pompano Park? Why is it taking so long? Why is it happening? So, I supported this last time, and that's my argument. And I also want to have you reiterate what the process is. There is like a threshold for the number of quotes for each dollar amount, and that is also a matter of public information. Yeah, because as commissioner, I want to know, you know, as well as like, well, why isn't this done, and why is it taking so long to get that roof? Because my residents come to me and like, what's going on here, you know? So can you go over the process for me?
So currently, if we're going to spend up to $20,000 on construction services, we need one quote. If it's between $20,000 and $75,000, we need 3 quotes. What this amendment would do is change the ordinance. 0 to 75,000, we would get 1 quote. 75,000 to 150, we would get 2 quotes. We always try to get more, but minimally that would be what the requirement is, because we want to make sure we're getting the best value for the city's dollar. And then between 150 and 300,000, it would be $150,000, $1 to 300,000 would be 3 quotes. And that would be led by the procurement department in collaboration with the client, the using department, whoever that may be. And then for capital material, supplies, et cetera, those thresholds are increasing as well. Currently, that's up to $75,000, and that will go up to $200,000 for 3 quotes.
Okay, and then when you say quotes, just so that everyone's clear, it's like you're going to call 2 roofers.
So we could still competitively bid it. It isn't to say that we wouldn't competitively bid if we felt like it was going to be under $300,000. It just all depends on the type of project. If it's a complex project, it's not going to be very easy to bring 2 or 3 contractors out to show them what we want and explain everything. We're better off just putting together a comprehensive package and putting it out for solicitation. This amendment would be for projects that are more simpler, and we could easily convey the scope of work to the contractor by meeting on site, or if we put a project out to bid and we get 0 bids, we could hire subcontractors directly. We could self-perform and act as the general contractor, like the Ely Parking Museum parking lot.
Tell me about that.
I'm sorry?
Tell me about that parking lot.
So that parking lot is a very simple project. It's 9 parking stalls, paving, lighting, irrigation, some landscaping. So we're going to we'd like to hire all of those subcontractors directly to save the city hundreds of thousands of dollars. And because it is such a simple project and very easy and of a lower value, currently over the 75 threshold, but if this amendment changes, it would be within the parameters of the new tier. We could hire those subcontractors directly, so it would expedite getting the work done, we would save the city money, and it would just be, you know, win-win all around.
Okay, so when you need a job done, like landscaping or paving, you're gonna, and if it's at those thresholds, you're gonna call like a paving company or 2 or 3 and say, hey, here's a project, and these guys are gonna bid competitively because they want the job.
It would be an informal quotation process led by the procurement department, and we would get multiple quotes to make sure that we're getting the best value for the city's money, and we would go from there.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Very good. Commissioner Fournier.
Thank you. So in your North Pompano Park example, you have 2 quotes, 150 and 170, for very different scope of work.
Correct.
All I'm asking is that you come to us with those 2, although it should be 3 according to this, right? Your 3 quotes, and we review that and say, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That 170,000 is getting a whole new roof versus that. I'm not saying that we need to go do a competitive bid package, so it still only costs the 170,000, not the incremental $100,000 to do the solicitation. I'm just asking you to come here with those different quotes you got and ask for our approval for things between 150,000 to 300. So I guess I'm going to make a motion that on page 3 of this ordinance, where it says, starts on page 2, it says, for those construction or improvement projects costing $150,000 up to $300,000, at least 3 quotes must be obtained, and I'd like it to also say, and commission approval is required.
I'll second that.
Okay.
And respond to one other thing you said, that we're going to be inundated. I'm not worried about being inundated by things like this. This is our job. We're spending people's money.
Mayor?
Mr. Harrison?
So when Tammy brought this to my attention several months ago, she gave me these examples. I had no idea that we were paying hundreds of thousands of dollars extra on these projects. And I thought, my God, this is a no-brainer. And we sat down with each one of you all. It was either in September or October. And every one of you thought, well, you're right. We can't do that. We can't waste that much money. This is about time and money. And right now, this body is not involved in the weeds of procurement. You are hiring me to make sure that all of this is done legal and proper under your policies and procedures. And then I hire professional project managers like Tammy and the procurement people that handle all of these weeds that you are possibly talking about getting into that you're not right now. And I would respectfully ask you to please just let us do our jobs. All we are simply saying is we're increasing that threshold. This body in 2017 increased that threshold from $25,000 to $75,000. And I believe that's somewhere in the neighborhood of 250%. And today, the reality of what we are talking about doing in all of these different jobs, the one that Commissioner Eaton's talking about in 2017 may very well have cost under $75,000. That's how much all of this construction trades industry has gone up over the years. And quite frankly, I have been remiss in not bringing this to your attention before now. But $300,000 isn't that much in what we're all trying to accomplish here. We're just simply trying to save time and money and get things done. That's all we're trying to do. Thank you.
Very good. So we've got a motion on the floor made by Commissioner Fournier to insert wording to the effect that anything between $150,000 and $300,000 would need to come back to the City Commission for approval. It's been seconded by Commissioner Moss. So that's a motion. This is a public hearing. Is there any input from the public on this item? On the motion? Seeing none, public input closed. Commission discussion. Commissioner Moss.
Yeah, on many occasions I've heard the city manager say, let us do our job. Mr. City Manager, let us do ours. And our job is to watch you and the staff. And 325% is a lot. There's a young lady sitting in the front row from the Pelican. I'm sure she's going to do a very, very good job in reporting what takes place in this room today. And if you want to go home and explain to your constituents why you authorized staff to have a 325% increase in their credit card, I'm not going to be angry at you. I'm not going to go home and cry myself to sleep, but I won't have any fingerprints on it. You will. You're going to have to explain to your constituents why you agreed to a 325% increase in their ability to spend. Secondly, I really don't understand some of the things that Dr. Good said about all of these requirements for architects, and I think that's maybe a worst-case scenario. I don't believe that that's the need in every case. And all throughout this, I've just found that there were some manipulations of truth, stretchings of truth, a little bit of arm twisting, and I don't like it. So, Mr. City Manager, let us do our job. And our job is to keep an eye on the spending in this city. It's not just to give you, a black American Express card and let you go wild. So, again, you haven't convinced me. And we're beating a dead horse here. We're just saying the same thing 10 different times in 10 different ways. So, thanks.
Very good. Further commission discussion on the motion. Vice Mayor?
I have two questions on the motion. First would be, so would this be to have the report or it brought to our attention at the time we decide we need a new roof, or at the time of here are the quotes for a new roof? And then my second question would be, would this be something that for efficiency would be able to be put in under consent agenda and then pulled when necessary?
Commissioner Fournier, it's your motion.
So the way I envision this is once the quotes are received, we look at it, like we would look at the three for the North Pompano Park and say, okay, the 107, you're recommending 170,000 to replace the roof, that makes sense, approval. Whether it's in a consent agenda is not, that's not up to, I think, us. I envision that it probably would be, but I don't know. But I completely agree with Commissioner Moss. There's been a lot of back and forth on this. I mean, I sat in Tammy's office and we talked about this exact policy and she said, okay, that I get it. And now I'm kind of getting a different reaction. So I do think there is a lot of pressure on us to do that. And that doesn't make me comfortable when I feel like there's pressure coming from the city. I completely, like I started by saying, I understand and I'm on board with trying to save time and money, but we have to do it the right way, and we have to do our job.
Vice Mayor, you still?
Yeah, and again, when I was presented this, and I still stand by, I do think this is a great idea. I think the huge cost savings is that in what you've analyzed so far, would be somewhere in the world of $3 million a year that we'd save taxpayers by moving forward with such efficiency, by being our own contractor. And to me, that's the number that I see, that $3 million can be reutilized in lots and lots of ways, or not taxed at all. It's a big, big number to take on every year just for process. So that's it. Thank you.
Very good. Yeah, I just want to interject just a little bit. I mean, there's been some strong language up here, and I think what Mr. Harrison and Dr. Good and all of our staff does is advocate for their positions. That's the job we hired them for, and I would expect nothing less. And they are looking at this, and yes, it may be a 325% increase, but it would result in a savings of somewhere around $3 million looking at current projects. So in staff's mind, that makes perfect sense. They're trying to be good stewards of the taxpayer dollars, and that's what we should be doing also, while being mindful of what it is being spent on. But the fact that staff supports this item, I don't think that should should look badly on staff for that. But I just wanted to put that out there. But so we've got Commissioner Perkins on the motion.
Yes, I understand what you're saying. We're trying to save money and save time. And when I spoke to Dr. Good about this, I agreed with her based on trying to get things done in a timely manner. However, since the discussion has shifted a little bit, when I think about we have given the city manager permission to spend under $75,000 for consultants, and nobody's watching him. And it's when you look at it, it's just ridiculous. But we've given him the permission, but to him and staff, of course, it makes sense. To me, it's overspending, depending on how you look at it. So I think we need to be very careful about increasing money to be spent this way, but I do, like I said, I understand Dr. Good's rationale for trying to save, time and money. Now, we do trust you, Dr. Good, of course, but what happens after you? If you leave or someone else takes your position, are they going to do the right thing as well? That's my concern.
Very good. Further discussion on the motion. Seeing none, let's call the roll on the motion.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Moss,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Seeger-Seaton,
No.
Vice Mayor McGee,
No.
Mayor Harton.
No, motion fails. So we're back on the actual item. Further discussion on the actual item. We've pretty much speed it up like Commissioner Moss was saying, but anybody have anything further on the motion, on the actual item? Seeing none, let's go ahead and call the roll on the item.
Commissioner Fournier,
No.
Commissioner Moss,
No.
Commissioner Perkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Segerson Eaton,
Yes.
Commissioner, Vice Mayor McGee,
Yes.
Mayor Harden.
Yes, very good. Item number 12 is a resolution.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Pompano Beach, Florida, appointing blank to the Golf Advisory Board of the City of Pompano Beach to fill the unexpired term of Donald Totter, alternate 2, said term to expire on July 1st, 2025, providing an effective date.
So moved?
Second?
Moved and seconded for discussion. Are there any nominations?
Yes, Mayor. I'd like to nominate Mark Henke.
Mark Hankey, District 3. Are there any further nominations?
Mayor,
Commissioner Segerson Eaton.
I'd like to nominate Scott Schoen.
Scott Schoen, District 3. Are there any further nominations? Hearing none, nominations closed. So when your name is called, indicate your choice, either Mark Hankey or Scott Schoen. Let's go ahead and call the roll.
Commissioner Fournier,
Mark Henke.
Commissioner Moss,
Scott Schoen.
Commissioner Perkins,
Mark Hankey?
Commissioner Segerson Eaton,
Scott Schoens.
Vice Mayor McGee,
Scott Schoen?
Mayor Harden.
Scott Schoen. Item number 13 is discussion and consideration item for the annual performance evaluation for Mr. Kervin Alfred, City Clerk.
So moved?
Moved and seconded, I guess, for discussion. Okay. Ms. Sonego.
All right.
Yeah.
Lisa Sonego, Human Resources Director. Good afternoon. Yes, you are up for the City Clerk's annual performance. As previously directed from City Commission, an annual performance will be reviewed for all appointed officials and a performance evaluation provided to the commission. So you did receive a form, and you also received a merit increase examples of 1%, 3%, and 5%. Those are in your packets. And also a list of Mr. Alfred's accomplishments that he provided for you. And any merit that may be agreed to today would be effective 12/1/2023. That was his promotion date of 2022. General employees received a 3% COLA in October of 2023, as did all your appointed officials. And the current pay for the city clerk position right now is within the 75th percentile when we review it with other comparable cities that you've used in the past here, those city clerks. So it's within that same type of range in the 75th percentile. So with that information, I'll review with your discussion.
Very good, thank you, appreciate that. Well, I personally think Mr. Alfred is doing a great job. Thank you, sir. I'll open it up for discussion. Anybody?
Mayor?
Commissioner Segerson Eaton.
Yes, I just want to say that Kervin is always responding promptly and provides thorough explanations, answers, and is always, it's wonderful. He's doing a great job. And his knowledge is deep. He knows quite all of the things. It's a very complicated position, and I appreciate him being there. Thanks.
Absolutely. I'd go ahead and make a motion that we increase his pay by 5%, merit increase.
Second. Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Further discussion on the motion. Vice Mayor.
I just want to also compliment Kervin. He had big shoes to fill with Estelita leaving, and he has done splendidly.
Absolutely, yes. Commissioner Moss, followed by Fournier.
Just a question. So a 5% increase, and then a short while ago, he got a 3% increase, so that would be an 8% increase? No?
No, he's not part of the...
Okay, very good. Well, I will add my voice to those who are praising Kervin. I think he does a wonderful job, and I support the increase for him.
Very good. Commissioner Fournier.
I also want to say thank you to Kervin for all of your hard work this last year. It was big shoes to fill. You've done an amazing job. You are always accessible, available to answer questions. You've done a really good job, I think, with these boards that are important to me. So I want to personally thank you and say I think it's very warranted.
Thank you.
Very good.
Yes, Mayor.
Commissioner Perkins.
Yes, I want to say that Kervin is doing an outstanding job. I feel very comfortable working with him. He gets back with me on a timely manner. I just think overall he's a good person, and I notice how you work with the other departments in the city, and you seem to be well received there as well, and that makes a big difference as a team player. But I just want to say, yeah, keep up the good work. I really enjoy, working with you. Okay, I feel safe when I work with you. Thank you, that's it.
Very good. Further comments? Seeing none, let's go ahead and call the roll.
I have a quick, apologies, I have a quick comment. I just want to make sure I heard that correct, that just to clarify that the 3% COLA was awarded to all your appointees in October.
Oh.
Which is a common practice.
Okay.
That has been done in the past. So I did just want to clarify that.
Very good. Thank you for that.
Also given 5% in the past to other individuals.
So that's 5 plus 3. So it is 8.
Okay. Stand corrected. Yep. Very good. Let's go ahead and call the roll.
Okay. Commissioner Fournier?
Yes.
Commissioner Moss?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Seegerson-Eaton?
Yes.
Vice Mayor McGee?
Yes.
Mayor Harton?
Yes. Great job, Kervin. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. That takes us up to additional audience to be heard. There should be none.
No additional audience to be heard, Mayor.
Very good. Our next scheduled meetings for the City Commission, January 23rd, 2024 at 5 p.m. We have a City Commission and CRA Board joint special meeting. That's at 5 o'clock, January 23rd. January 23rd at 6 o'clock, we have a regular City Commission meeting that begins. So 5 o'clock followed by 6 o'clock regular meeting. Then on February 13th, 2024 at 1 p.m., it'll be another regular City Commission meeting. That takes us up to reports. Mr. Harrison.
Yes, sir. So you're getting a flyer right there on an upcoming meeting that's very important to the public, which we are working on a sustainability update right now. And on January 25th, there will be a meeting here in the Commission chambers regarding that. So if any of the Commission or a member of the public wants to attend, you go ahead and put that on your calendar right now.
Very good.
Okay? And Ty has an update on the Jazz Fest. Woohoo! That's coming here.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commissioners, and thank you, City Manager Harrison, for the opportunity to present our Jazz Fest. We're 9 days out. It starts next Thursday. This will be the 3rd year that we're putting on our Jazz Fest, which is consistent with our department's master plan. I have a very short presentation and a few slides to share with you.
I feel like we're going to have a saxophone playing in the background.
Get ready to put your toes in the sand at Jazz Fest Pompano Beach. Join us as music legends Branford Marsalis, Miss Lisa Fisher and Grand Baton, David Sanchez, and Najee take the Champion Porsche stage. Enjoy culinary treats from the area's top restaurants. Sip drinks beachside. Experience live art and so much more. Tickets on sale now at pompanobeacharts.org.
So we kick off next Thursday at the Cultural Center with a concert with the Valerie Tyson Band. That venue accommodates about 330 people, so we've been selling VIP seats. This is a free event with the exception of 200 seats that have been set aside for VIP ticket purchasers and sponsors. Following Thursday, we'll be at the beach for the first time. Last year, we were in Old Town for our second night of programming, and we've really outgrown that venue, which is the Old Town Untapped venue. So Friday night, we will have David Sanchez and Najee performing, and then on Saturday, from 6 to 10 both nights, Miss Lisa Fisher and Grand Baton, and our most well-known performer is Branford Marsalis. The performances start at 6 and go until 10. The concessions will be available starting at 4 p.m. And we were fortunate to receive a grant from the county to really build some momentum for the event. So starting this week, on Wednesday night, our Taste of Jazz event at Baca will be showcasing jazz. This Friday night at the Blanche Ely House Museum, we have an intimate concert with La Vie. And then at our Green Market on Saturday, which runs from 9 until 1, we'll have various jam sessions and a celebration of jazz for that leading up to next week's event. And this is what the event footprint looks like at the beach. Again, we expect several thousand people to be participating. We have invited all of the food and beverage operators from the fishing village to participate, and all of them accepted. So we're really happy to be promoting the local businesses in the area and really showcasing the best of Pompano Beach through this event. And we're also fortunate to have some great sponsors. Champion Porsche, the local dealership here in town, which is the #1 sales Porsche dealership in the country, and also the largest in size and expanding. We'll be joining our other sponsors, John Knox Village, Bank United, and Gold Coast Jazz Society. And we're also showcasing our artists in residence. We're trying to create an ambiance and, again, celebrate the culture of Pompano. So these are several of the local artists in residence who are in residence at Baca. And we operate under the brand Pompano Beach Arts, which sometimes confuses people. Instead of the Department of Cultural Affairs, we are known as Pompano Beach Arts with our website and our social media. And just in conclusion, if you happen to see Pompano Magazine, the entire edition is really dedicated to our Jazz Fest. So I encourage you to take a look at that. It really goes in depth explaining who the performers are, many of whom have won Grammy Awards, and we're excited to welcome them to Pompano starting next week. So I hope everybody can join us. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Ty.
Nice work. Yeah.
All right, and I think all of you are aware that Topgolf finally opened here in Pompano Beach on December 15th.
Yeah.
And just a reminder, this has been going on since 2015 when Chris Clemens and I met with them in their corporate office in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
So sometimes, you know, you have that little seed and you think it might grow, it might not, and this one wound up growing big time. They're doing a heck of a business out there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you haven't been, you need to try it out. It's a lot of fun. And the food is really good, too. All right, so let's see. Miss Kimberly Castellano, would you come up here, please? So, you know, we kid Randy because all the awards that he gets. But Kimberly got a very, very special award at the annual meeting. This is a Lifetime Achievement Award. And I promised her that I wouldn't have her walk around like Vanna and show this to each of you. But what I would like to do, if you don't mind, is I'm going to come down in front with Kimberly. And if you all will stand up and we get a picture of this award. This is a very, very special award. Just another example of an exemplary staff that we have here at Pompano Beach. We're very fortunate to have the conscientious, honest people that we have here.
Absolutely.
All right. That concludes my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Great report. That takes us up to City Attorney, Mr. Berman.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to steal one from Mr. Harrison's playbook here. This is usually done, as we just saw, by Mr. Harrison. But get a load of this trophy. This is heavy. This is like the Stanley Cup, this thing. This is big. And this is an award given to Mr. Harrison. Mr. Harrison was honored on December 7th, 2023 by the Broward County City Managers Association for his leadership and professional service to the 31-city organization from 2020 through 2024. Mr. Harrison was elected to the president's position of that organization in December of 2019, just in time for COVID-19. So congratulations on your timing. He was faced with unprecedented problems brought on by the COVID epidemic. In December of 2021, he was reelected to head the organization. It's known in short as BCCMA for the 2022 through 2024 term, and continued to lead Broward County cities. And I can just read from here a little bit. In appreciation for your dedication and leadership to the Broward County City Managers Association, presented to Greg Harrison, President from 2020 to 2024. I'd pass this around, but you might hurt yourself. This is very heavy. So,
very good.
I can do the Vanna thing too if you want. If you want a picture with Mr. I don't know. Do you want a picture? Come on.
Want a picture?
Yeah, come on. You two get down there. Let's get a picture.
I'll just put it on there and back out of there.
Step in front of the three-minute thing. Look at her first. She must have done something right, right?
Concludes my report. Thank you.
Very good. Yes, I remember those days during COVID-19 and sitting in your office when you were having those conference calls with all those other city managers. You were the president of the association. Great job at challenging times.
Thank you.
Very good. That takes us up to our city clerk, Kervin Alfred.
Mr. Mayor, I want to express my appreciation to everyone's for everyone's feedback. It gives me great pleasure to know that you have the confidence of allowing me to serve you at this capacity. I'm grateful for the kind words, and I will strive to maintain this performance and explore other areas where I can make positive contributions. As of October 2023, our advisory board membership levels are approximately at 94%. In an effort to bring up those numbers with the goal of hitting 100% membership across all of our advisory boards, I intend to make public announcements from whenever there's opportunities for the public to serve on our advisory boards. To get that started, we have 4 advisory board for the parks. Sorry, let me back up. Public Arts Committee. We have 4 upcoming appointments for the Public Arts Committee. The positions are varying. One of which is the architect, requires our architect discipline. Another is an art dealer, art professor, and art curator, if I pronounce it correctly. So we have those 4 positions coming up in the month of February. Also, we have the Nuisance Abatement Board that has 4 upcoming appointments for that board as well. Just in the effort to bring up those numbers in the hopes of getting it to close to 100%. That concludes my report.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for that, and thank you for all you do. Appreciate that. That takes us up to our City Commission. Commissioner Fournier.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say it's National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, so I want to say thank you to BSO for everything you do to keep us safe and all your contributions to our community. And When this meeting started, I was watching a special meeting of the Broward County School Board. They were meeting today to discuss transitioning from the SROs to their own law enforcement for schools. It was a very interesting meeting. When we get out of here, I can't wait to see what happened. But there were dozens of elected officials there, many of them from A-rated school districts from all over the county speaking on the topic. And it reminded me of an email that I received, and I'm assuming we all received up here, from the Broward County Public Schools last month about the grades for our Pompano Beach schools. So this is important to me. I think it's important that we spend more time on this, even though I know we don't have oversight of our schools. I think we need to try to redefine the role of a city within a county-run school district. We need to advocate for ourselves more. We have 13 public schools here in Pompano Beach. One of them is an A-rated school, and that's Pompano Beach High, which is a magnet program, and Pompano Beach residents are not guaranteed to get into the school. And we have one B-rated school, McNabb Elementary. And then the other 11 public schools are C or D here in Pompano Beach. So, what was that?
I said, yes, that's true. Sorry to interrupt.
But are you? So I would like to sit down with you, Mr. Harrison, and talk a little more about what we can do as a city to try to develop some more strategic partnerships with the local schools.
It's been approved by the Broward County School Board as well. And I believe has it expired, Mr. Harrison? It's expired, but we can reapply or get it reopened or something. Yeah, absolutely. Very good. Commissioner Moss.
Thank you. I just want to point out that on January 18th at 12:15 p.m. at the Herb Skolnick Center, the Palm Air Special Recreational District will be having its annual meeting for those who may be interested in attending. I also want to echo the city manager's words about Topgolf. Really very interesting and fun place. It's going to be bringing a lot of people and hopefully money into our city, so that is a very good thing. And also wanted to echo the city manager's words about our staff and how competent they are and how honest I believe they are. And I hope that from this day going forward for the next 100 years, they are as honest 100 years from now as they are today. And that will do it for me. Thanks.
Very good. Thank you. Commissioner Perkins.
Thank you, Mayor. I first wanted to start by thanking the Martin Luther King Committee for putting together, I think it's about 7 events they're doing for the MLK celebrations. We had a very nice interfaith prayer breakfast. Thank you for attending, Mayor, on Saturday morning, which was very successful, very well attended. So I just wanted to commend the Martin Luther King Committee for keeping the legacy alive. Next, I wanted to mention, by the way, Commissioner Fournier she was talking about the grades. And when I received that as well, I called all the principals in my 3 schools, well, 4, I called the other one. The principals were not aware of the grades, and they felt the grades were inaccurate. They had not submitted everything to come up with a grade. So I don't know how that was distributed out, but some of the principals are very upset to have heard. They had never heard it until I called them. And then I sent them the information, and they were like, really? They were not aware of it. So they had not submitted everything that needed to be submitted to come up with grades. That was my take on it. The other thing I want to mention was culture arts. Ty, you're doing a wonderful job in culture arts. I'd just like to see you reach more out to the Northwest community, because after some of these events are over, residents are telling me, well, why didn't you tell me? I didn't know about it. So there are things even happening right next to me at the Blanche Healy Museum, and I'm not aware of it, Well, sometime I am, but then I forget about it too. So there's a lot going on there at the museum, but, keep up the good work. Lastly, I wanted to talk about the tragic shootings and homicides that we had during the Christmas holidays. So it was very frustrating for me I know on December 18th, in my district, we had a 16-year-old young man that was killed. And talking to the family, he had just turned 16. And his funeral services were Saturday, which I attended. It's so sad. We still have shootings at the same location on 27th and the 400 block, I should say, of 27th in Kaya City. So as of now, we've had 4 killings there, but based on some of those people in that community, there's been a lot more killings at that particular convenience store than we know about. So I'm very disturbed that there's nothing anyone can do about the shootings. The community has come, you know, they've come together, they've spoken, they've marched, they've talked, they've given, I mean, I just don't know, what does a city do when they do not know how to combat or stop gun violence, especially in certain districts? Because we know if this was in certain districts, it wouldn't be taking place. But when the young lady stood up and spoke about the shooting, everybody just carried on as though it was nothing, because it's not your child or in your community. So I'm just very, discouraged, and a lot of people say that I don't care for BSO, and that's not true. We need law enforcement. We just need law enforcement to do more and do their jobs. Now, we're paying BSO $59 million out of a $400 million budget. And there's nothing BSO can do to stop or slow some of these crimes with the shootings and the homicides that we're having. I just find that ridiculous. So what BSO does, they meet with the community, and what BSO says sounds good. People leave with a good feeling, and that's it. But we're never given any type of prevention from BSO. I would not be talking about this right now, but I sent an email to the city manager that I didn't get a response to, and I asked him to meet with me before this meeting. I don't understand. We've given BSO all the tools they need. We've given you the core team, and I assume the core team was supposed to be community policing. So obviously that's not working. We've given you real-time cameras. Obviously that's not working. We have tag readers. That's probably not working either. We have the shot shooter. I guess that's after the fact. And then we have, I guess, bicycles. And all of this that we have is just not working. But we're steady promoting people to come to Pompano Beach, come to the beach, come to the Innovation District, come to the casino, come to Top Golf. But the crime is it keeps going. And nobody seems to care to want to do anything about it. Everybody sitting on this dais here voted to give BSO the raise. That's how they came up with the $59 million. So because we gave them that raise, or you all gave them that raise, you're saying to them, you're doing a good job. So I think the raise was 3%. So I think they got it's 6,000 more of a raise or whatever, but I don't understand. BSO will meet with the community, talk with the people, but no results. And this has been going on for years. So it's either they don't care, don't know what they're doing, or they're not organized. I don't know which one it is, but I do know we don't call the shots pretty much here in Pompano because we are a county BSO, of course. So the shots are called, I'm pretty sure, downtown Fort Lauderdale. But I'm very concerned about the shooting. So at the convenience store in Kaya City on 27th, Christmas night, my phone is ringing off the hook, but I don't understand why. So I don't answer it. So I get up the next morning and boom, there it is. One killed Christmas night, the other one, I guess, died the next day. And then on December 18th, which I don't know how you kept that pretty much out of the big news, but that was not in the big news with the 16-year-old being killed. And the community is crying out to this city, and they're getting no results. So what are we to do? How do we stop this? Do we just turn our head and let it continue and get worse? Or do we do something about it? And I've been saying from the very beginning, we've got to put some kind of preventions in place. I don't know what it is. I didn't go to school for law, whatever. But I can do some research and find out how to go about it. So, but I just need BSO to take this seriously. And I'm not trying to beat up on you all personally, but there are parents out there that's grieving. The funeral I went to Saturday for the 16-year-old, that was sad. To see them grieving like that. 16 years old, just turned 16, 2 months. And nobody seems to care, or nobody seems to do anything about it in this city of Pompano Beach. But we're steady promoting, come to Pompano Beach, come to the beach, it's beautiful, and it is. So, Mr. City Manager, Darryl Stallings, and Wayne Atkins, we've got to do more for prevention, to put something in place. Now, there are a lot of deaths that happen in my district we don't even talk about on this dais. So by the time Stallings called me and said, we've had another death or we've had another shooting, I've already received a call because everybody knows everybody and everybody talks. But I don't know, as a community, what do we do? The community has made a plea several times to this commission, to the city manager, to BSO. I mean, they even talked about trying to get the guardian angels in here, trying to get some outside help. I've even called some of my law enforcement friends I knew when I worked for Congressman Alcee Hastings. What can we do? So I want to leave you all with the fact that I'm willing to work with BSO, and I'm pretty sure the community is willing to work as well. But we want to see some preventions put in place. And I would like to see a better connection with law enforcement and BSO in Pompano. Because I was very excited when we organized the core team, because I thought, okay, good, they're gonna be doing community policing. I have no idea who they are. I don't know what they look like. I don't know who they are. I remember a while back when someone broke into my vehicle at my home, and rather than call the police, I called at that time, the captain. And the sheriff called me and said, why didn't you call the non-emergency number or 911? I'm like, because I don't want any police officer coming here that don't know what they're doing. I want them to get this right the first time. So we have to have a law enforcement that we trust, because when you trust law enforcement, you will talk, because you feel comfortable with them. You feel you've built a connection with them. So with that, I know I'm long, but I just had to get that out because the community is just on this shooting again, and it just seems to not go away, and I don't think it's gonna go away if we keep turning our heads. We've got to address this. We've got to bring attention to this. So I'm willing to work with whoever is willing to work to resolve this or prevent whatever is going on. I'm willing to work with law enforcement, the city manager, whatever it takes. And that's it. Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you.
Very good. Happy New Year, and thank you for that, Commissioner. Commissioner Segerson-Eaton.
Thank you, Mayor, and I want to wish everyone a Happy New Year as well, and hopefully in 2024 we'll be able to get a lot of things accomplished and finish up what we've already begun. I do want to say that this Thursday on the 11th at 7 p.m. at the Charlotte Bury Center, we'll have the Crest Haven Civic Association meeting, and our special guest will have the code enforcement there, BSO, and our special guest is going to be Dr. Tammy Good to talk about some of the improvements coming to the Bury Center and other areas in the city. So Thursday, 7 o'clock, Bury Center, Crest Haven Civic Association, and Happy New Year. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Vice Mayor.
I wanted to just, I don't know if you guys all got the emails from the MPO, but they will be hosting the 11th Annual Safe Streets Summit on February 29th, 2024, and March 1st, 2024, in-person and mobile workshops at the Intercontinental Miami Hotel. And if anyone wanted to participate to find out more, we can, Shelley or Audrey can help us go ahead and sign up to attend or take a part of it. This year's theme for the summit is Embracing Bicycle and Pedestrian Mobility in Southeast Florida, transforming the Southeast Florida into a vibrant and connected community where safe, sustainable, and accessible streets empower everyone to embrace mobility and be interconnected. So hopefully with, our concentration and what we're doing in downtown, it's on point and sort of what we're focusing on for being a transportation hub and being interconnected, not just through the city and our county, but Miami and Palm Beach as well, and the rest of the state of Florida, et cetera. So that is happening. I also wanted to bring up a thought process I've had with Kervin mentioning that, there's boards that need seating or need more membership and things like that. Is I had a few different residents interested in the Public Arts Committee specifically, but the requirements of the different positions are so specific. I don't know if it takes a motion or just a direction to maybe allow Kervin and Public Arts to contemplate extending it out to, designers or people who work in the arts but aren't maybe specifically an art critic, art dealer. We just don't have that many of that business around. So it just to open up, not a free-for-all, but like a specific, make it more or less specific. There we go, less stringent, thank you.
A little less specific on some of the positions, in other words. Well, that's because I think that is actually an ordinance. If I'm not mistaken, I'm looking at Mr. Berman and Mr. Alfred. Is it spelled out in ordinance form?
I believe it's a resolution.
Resolution?
That established that committee.
Okay.
Yes, I can work with the city attorney's office to see how we can relax that a little.
Okay. Or just get us all a copy of it and let us kind of chew on it and I guess bring it up. That's once we've all seen it.
Yeah, some of the requirements are really, really specific on a few of the seats, and again, it might be something where we can look at other committees too, if necessary. And I would turn to Kervin as he's going through the committees and letting us know who is coming up and whether or not certain seats have been empty for a period of time because of over-stringent requirements. So yeah, that's it. And then I also have tomorrow a meeting. I have the meeting with the Facilities Oversight Committee for the Broward County Public Schools, and have been attending those, so I can bring back whatever feedback I get from that, as well as I know I'll probably see some of the school boards up in Tallahassee, because I know school board has been really working hard to change Broward County Public Schools, and I have a lot of hope with their new superintendent that they brought on recently out of Palm Beach County Schools. So hopefully we'll see positive movement all in all. That's it. Oh, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Very good. Thank you for that. I just Happy New Year, and yes, I also want to thank the MLK committee for all the events that they're putting together, and of course our staff for helping with those events, and also Tiger Trail. We've got a lot of stuff coming up, and a lot of volunteers are putting things together. I know we've got unity in the community, I believe, and so lots of good things happening. But we still have work to do, of course. But things are looking up in Pompano Beach, absolutely. So Happy New Year. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.